Welcome to the November episode of County Connection, where we talk about events, services, and programs offered by Summit County government. I'm your host, Julie Suter, and we have a great show lined up for you this month. We're going to be talking about our great public transit system, community gardens, staying healthy, not making your guests sick for your turkey dinner this Thanksgiving, and lots of great other stuff. So for this first segment, we have Jim Andrew, Summit Stage Director, and Kate Berg, Senior Planner from the Planning Department. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good, and we are going to kick it off talking about the Frisco Transit Center. So we have some great stuff in store, some new developments brewing over there. Give us a snapshot of what's going on right now.
We have some big plans, Julie. As most of you know, the Frisco Transit Center is the primary transit hub in Summit County, not just for Summit Stage, but also for the airport shuttles, Bustang, the new Bustang service, and Greyhound. So it's amazing. And we also have a car rental, Hertz Car Rentals located there as well. So it's a major transportation hub here in the county, and it's 20 years old now. And frankly, you know, we've outgrown it. When it was built, you know, in the mid-1990s, the stage was about half the size that we are now. There was only one airport shuttle, and the Bustang service, of course, hadn't come about. So it was much less utilized at that time. And in the 20 years subsequently, it's grown, the usage has grown quite a bit, and we frankly have just outgrown it.
Right. Yep. And so it really serves as a really key piece of how people get around through the county and connect to different modes of transit.
Yeah.
It really does. So we were able to secure a grant from CDOT to do some improvements, and in the course of that process we decided to take a step back and put together a master plan that would position the facility for the next 20 years. And that's kind of where we are today. We have a consultant, R&L Design, out of Denver, who specializes in this kind of work, putting together a master plan. They've been on board now for a couple of months, and they'll be coming back to us with some recommendations the early part of the year.
Okay, so Kate, you've been working pretty closely with the design team over the past several months. What are some of the big challenges that you see from a planner's point of view when you look at this location?
Sure. Well, a lot's changed in the past few years with the surrounding development. Mm-hmm. When the facility was first built, it was really kind of a back-of-the-house operation located behind the Safeway Walmart shopping center. And with the recent development of Whole Foods, the area is really transforming, and it's kind of now in the middle of an emerging commercial center. Right. And so there's a real opportunity to better connect the facility to its surroundings, and really to improve the visibility of the center from the surroundings, improve the wayfinding and signage to help people navigate to the transit center, and really just connect it better with everything around it, as well as making the site itself more functional. As Jim said, when the facility was first built, it was really just built to accommodate a much smaller Summit Stage operation, mm-hmm. and all these other users really weren't part of the picture. And so now we've got some circulation problems internally as well as externally. So we're looking at improving the internal functionality of the site so that all the different users can move through the site more efficiently, and that there's adequate space to accommodate their needs, mm-hmm. accommodating the number of buses that we have, accommodating the number of shuttles that we have, properly separating those users, and making it not only more efficient but also safer for all the users, you know, the transit vehicles, cars, pedestrians, bicyclists, really kind of looking at how all modes of travel need to move through the site and to the surrounding properties. So that's a big goal for us, is kind of improving visibility, improving wayfinding and signage, better connecting it to the surroundings, solving the internal circulation issues for all users, and also making the facility more user-friendly, trying to provide things within the transit building that the users are asking for, like better information on not only just transit, but also county-wide information. Because this is really a gateway to Summit County for a lot of people who are arriving in the county for the first time on an airport shuttle or a regional bus. And we're getting some input that this should function a little bit more like an information center and kind of be able to serve as a jumping off point for people that are arriving.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about some of the examples of the conflicts that you mentioned in terms of different uses. Jim, what are some examples of what that looks like?
Well, right now there's no separation or designated areas for the different operators. So the Summit stage buses are coming in there. You have the airport shuttles coming in there, 80, 90 times a day during the winter. You have Greyhound stopping through 4 times a day, Bustang twice a day, and those will probably go up. Right now, it's kind of every man for himself. There's no designated separation, and frankly, there's some times when it gets a little too busy. So I think one of the things we'd like to do is to kind of separate and designate areas for each of the different operators.
Right. Okay.
And that'll make it a lot easier for the people coming through there to navigate it.
Right, and to really provide that seamless experience where instead of kind of being a little confused and stressed out about which mode to take or where people are supposed to go, they can kind of easily see that laid out for them in terms of whatever the next mode of transportation that they're plugging into.
Yep.
And we've really outgrown it in its current state. So one of the things we want to do with this master plan is think 10, 15, 20 years into the future, so that it not only meets the needs today, but it's going to be meet the needs for all of the different operators over the next 20 years.
Sure, because we could anticipate that growth that we've seen, those growth trends that we're seeing now will likely or could continue.
Definitely. So one of the exercises we've been going through at the beginning of the master planning process is really looking at those programming needs. What are they currently, and what are we projecting they'll be, from now moving forward through the next 20 years. And so what the master plan is going to do is, taking into account what the current needs are and what the projected future needs are, it's going to lay out an overall recommended plan for developing the property in phases. So essentially the first phase or two would be, making the improvements that are necessary to bring the facility up to what's needed to accommodate the current users. And then there will be recommendations for future improvements that can be made as needed to accommodate increased demand. So future add-on, future expansion potential to the building itself, the ability to provide additional facilities as needed as we grow.
Great. All right. So what does this master plan process look like?
Well, we kicked the process off in September and contracted R&L Design as the lead consulting firm. We've been, from September through today, we've really been doing our initial sort of analysis of the existing site conditions, initial public outreach to gather ideas from the operators, the transit operators themselves, the users, both local transit riders and regional transit riders, trying to just talk to as many people as we can who use the current facility and find out what's working, what's not working, what kind of improvements are needed to better accommodate your operation or make it easier for you to move through the facility, what's lacking. And so we've done our own work to analyze the site, look at opportunities and constraints, look at the existing and future facility needs, and then we've done some initial public outreach to try to gather ideas. We had 2 events on October 20th, coffee break events at the Transit Center and at the Summit Stage break room to talk with folks that are most familiar with this site and get those ideas. And so at this point in time, we are transitioning from this initial information gathering phase into conceptual design. And we're using all that input that we've gotten over the last couple of months to start generating some conceptual ideas for how we can redesign this property. And what we're planning to do is, over the course of the next few weeks, really get some good ideas on paper that we can then bring to the facility users and to the public and have something to show them and get their feedback. Basically lay out some real, visual ideas that they can take a look at and react to, tell us what they like, what they don't like. We're planning to host an open house at the Rio Grande restaurant
That sounds like fun.
It'll be fun. Yeah, so it's going to be November 18th.
Okay.
At the Rio. It's a Wednesday evening, Wednesday kind of happy hour time, 4:30 to 6:30. And we are going to have some drawings up and be able to explain to people what it is we're trying to accomplish through this project, and get their thoughts and ideas that we'll then take back to our design team and use that input to refine the conceptual design ideas into a final master plan that we're hoping to have done by the end of the year.
Right.
Excellent. Well, at least as far as I know of Summit County history, this might be the first planning department transit sponsored happy hour. So
Yeah.
so it's exciting that we're hipping it up a little bit.
It'll be a cash bar, though.
Cash bar, okay. So don't say you weren't told. But it sounds like a great event, and it's right there in the transit center, so you can kind of look out the windows and imagine some of these conceptual designs and there where they might happen. So,
and you can ride the bus to it.
Yeah, and
which is fabulous.
Right.
We encourage everyone to take the bus.
Definitely. So, Kate, what are some of the ideas that have come out through the process so far as you've been having this dialogue with the public and with stakeholders?
What we've been hearing from a lot of people is that right now there's a lot of people looking for information, and really at this point in time the only people who are in the building, staffing the building, are the Hertz rental car staff. And so at this point they're really serving as almost a de facto information center. And there's tons of people looking for info on Greyhound schedule, Bustang schedule, Summit Stage connections. And so a lot of people are saying, there really needs to be some information provided within the facility, information personnel, essentially some sort of information center that provides information on all the different transit schedules, connections to be made, directions for people who are arriving in the county and want to know how to get to their next stop. So we've heard a lot of feedback saying that needs to be incorporated into a new transit building. We've also heard from folks that currently when you're in the transit building, you really can't see out very well. So a lot of people don't wait inside the building because they can't see their
when
bus.
Your bus is coming.
So trying to make the building just more open, more windows, more light, make it more centrally located among the bus stops so that people can wait outside of the cold and the snow and see their bus coming. And trying to, through design, create more activity within the building so that there's more going on, there's more people there, it feels safer, it doesn't have such an abandoned feel.
Okay.
So some talk about sort of consolidating the different operations, more like you have at an airport, where there's a big central comfortable waiting space and there's counters set up internally within the building for an info center, rental car, whatever you need, more like a one-stop shop that's more activated. Also a desire to have some food and beverage on site so people can grab some coffee, a muffin, whatever, grab and go refreshments. Improved bathrooms.
Yeah, another item is to provide improved access between the transit center and both the shopping centers, both the base camp and the Frisco station. Particularly the Frisco station right now, if you're coming in on the stage, you've got to walk around Safeway or walk around Walmart to get over there. So we're looking
that
at,
shopping center is really a long building.
It's massive. So we're interested in providing a better connection, pedestrian access between the transit center and that shopping center.
Right. And as Kate mentioned earlier, that whole area really is becoming such a hub of activity, and so to provide those pedestrian connections seems like it would really enhance the whole, how well it functions for people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have a great stakeholder advisory group that's been formed, and we're meeting with them monthly, and there's representation on that group from all the surrounding businesses. So we're getting great input and cooperation from the Safeway Walmart Shopping Center, the Whole Foods property, representatives from the town of Frisco are providing great input as well, because this property is located within the town of Frisco limits, but the property is owned by Summit County and operated by the county. But still, you know, we're trying to keep everybody in the loop and make sure that all of these folks who have great insight into how this facility can best function are at the table, you know, giving us their ideas as we move along.
Right.
It's really been working pretty well.
And just to let everyone know, this is not just pie in the sky, you know, work that we're doing. We actually hope to break ground on what would be the first phase of this next summer.
Okay.
So we've got a pretty quick startup schedule.
Okay, great.
Now it would likely, depending on what the consultants come back and recommend and how much that costs, you know, the ultimate implementation might take a few years.
Sure.
But we want to get started on this next summer.
Excellent. So stage riders and everybody else who kind of has different reasons to be in that zone can look forward to some of these improvements taking place in the very near future.
Yeah.
Great. So Jim, as the transit director, as you've gone through this process so far, what are some of the things that really you find most exciting?
I think just to make the facility work better, not just for us, but for the other users, the shuttles, you know, Greyhound, Mustang, make it more user-friendly. Kate has kind of touched on that. Make it more user-friendly for the people, and also give people a reason to want to come there, or the time that they're there waiting for a bus or to make a connection, you know, which can often be, you know, 20, 30 minutes.
Sure.
You know, to give them some other reason and some support services while they're there.
All right. Well, is there anything else that either of you would like to add about the Frisco Transit Center master plan?
I don't think so. We just would like to encourage everybody to come attend the open house, come check out what we've done, and give us your input, because we want this plan to really reflect, you know, the user's perspective as to not only, you know, what can be done in the short term to improve it as much as possible within the next couple of years, but looking to the future, how can this really best serve Summit County? It's really the gateway to Summit County for a lot of people arriving here, and there's a real opportunity to make this a very inviting, very convenient, very helpful place that orients people who are arriving in the county, and make it an enjoyable place for our locals as they transition through the transit center, making whatever local connections or regional connections they need to make.
Right.
You know, so come take a look at what we're thinking, share your ideas, and try to help us make this the best plan that it can be.
All right. And so for folks who are interested in learning more online and getting details, as well as getting in touch and maybe providing some input, where can they find that info?
We have a project website up which has all of the information on the project and the details on the upcoming open house, as well as details to submit comments to me if you can't attend the open house. And that web address is www.summitcountyco.gov/Frisco Transit Center.
Well done.
Which hopefully will be on the screen.
All right. Great. Well, that sounds great. I think that the project itself is really exciting, and what a great opportunity for the Summit Stage and visitors and residents here in Summit County. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Kate. We'll say goodbye to you, but Jim will stick around for the next segment while we talk about the new smart bus system that is coming online this month to help people navigate through our transit system.
Thanks, guys.